Two of the top dogs in the Red Sox farm system absolutely popped off yesterday. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Yesterday, Marcelo Mayer and Roman Anthony had themselves a day. Unfortunately, though, for some reason, MLB refuses to show every spring training game. It drives me absolutely crazy, so there's a pretty good chance that a lot of you guys either have no idea what I'm talking about right now or haven't seen what they were able to do in video form. Maybe you heard it over the radio, maybe you saw it on Twitter, but you haven't seen what they've been able to do in video form, and I think that's absolutely ludicrous. You guys should know what these top prospects are doing, so what we're doing in today's video is we're not only talking about how good of a game yesterday was for these two guys, we're also showing how good of a game it was, and we're talking about why it's important. And I understand people are going to sit there and hear the words an important spring training game and kind of laugh a little bit, right? We're talking about a game in February, Corbin. It means absolutely nothing. It doesn't help the Red Sox win a World Series by any means, and you're right? This is technically a meaningless baseball game. It means absolutely nothing, but to these prospects, I do think it's pretty important. I think it's an important step in what they are trying to do, not only this spring, but this 2025 in general. So we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to start with Marcelo Mayer, because Marcelo's day yesterday started with a 103.6 mile an hour triple off of not just any pitcher, but Jack Flaherty. Now, again, I was able to find some footage of said at-bat, so we're going to show the entire at-bat while I'm talking about it. Shout out Brian Dankese on Twitter for showing us this. He was at the game. He was able to get this footage. Really, really great job from Brian. If you guys want to follow him on Twitter, go ahead. I'll put his handle in the bottom corner of these videos like I normally do. And again, it's just one hit, right? That's fine. But here's why I really love this at-bat from Marcelo. The biggest thing for me is that this wasn't against some non-roster invitee for the Tigers, right? It wasn't against some guy who's going to spend 45 innings in the big leagues throughout his career and spend most of his time in AAA ballparks. This was against Jack Flaherty, a bona fide starter in Major League Baseball, a guy a lot of Red Sox fans wanted on this team this offseason. To me, that's an absolutely fantastic sign. It's one thing for these guys to beat up on the 33-year-old who has 20 innings of experience in Major League Baseball. It's another to beat up on a legitimate established Major League pitcher, even if it is just in spring training. And what I think is really impressive about this hit from Marcelo Mayer to start this game off is that he was able to generate this kind of exit velocity off of a pitch coming in at 84.5 miles an hour. That shows really impressive bat speed, and that's something the Red Sox have been stressing specifically with Marcelo Mayer over the last couple of years. It's really been with their entire minor league system. Christian Campbell's a big sort of proponent of that. He's sort of their star pupil when it comes to this philosophy, but obviously Roman Anthony's kind of known for it, right? Generating these crazy bat speeds that lead to crazy exit velocities. Marcelo's a part of that as well, and I think some people forget that too. So it's showing that Marcelo is able to generate high bat speeds and high exit velocities against major league guys and major league stuff. To me, that's really impressive, but his day did not end there because he also had a single mixed in with this as well, which was against, again, a major league pitcher, but he also capped off his day with a home run. Now, this one wasn't some crazy exit velocity punch here. It was 94.9 miles an hour. Probably would have only been out, I think it was 7 ballparks. I'll put how many it was on the screen right now. But again, this was, again, off of another veteran MLB guy in Kenta Maeda, who was kind of holding on to major league status by the skin of his teeth last season, but still, it was and is a big league name. Again, shout out Brian on Twitter for being able to get some of this footage for us, because it's still absolutely ridiculous that Major League Baseball doesn't just throw a camera into every Major League spring training game. Drives me crazy, not the point of this video. But overall, if you take these two hits into account, Marcelo Mayer is kind of off to a crazy hot start this spring. This dude has 5 hits and 11 at-bats, a triple and a homer in there, obviously coming from this game, and 4 RBIs now. That is a really solid start to spring training. He finished yesterday a double away from the cycle. Like I mentioned in the intro, the other name that kind of turned some heads yesterday was Roman Anthony. Now, Roman didn't have as many hits as Marcelo Mayer, but the contact he did make, 4 hits, were absolutely ridiculous. He had a 104-mile-an-hour double that would have been a home run in 9 of the 30 ballparks in Major League Baseball, again, off of Kenta Maeda. And again, you go back to, this was off of a 81.2-mile-an-hour slot ball, which means, like we were talking about with Marcelo, he was generate really impressive bat speed to be able to make that kind of contact against a pitch like this. Again, like I said when we were talking about Marcel, this is kind of what Roman Anthony's known for, right? He's known for being able to generate these eye-popping exit velocities. The noise his bat makes when it contacts a baseball is different than a lot of other prospects in the league, and that's a big reason why he is the number 2 prospect, really the number 1. Roki Sasaki is the number 1 prospect in baseball right now. I don't know if I counted he played professional baseball, whatever. Not the point of this video. I keep getting sidetracked today. Roman Anthony being able to do this not only kind of certifies that this is something that he's going to do on a regular basis, but again, you go back to, this was off of a major league pitcher, right? The fact that his exit velocities and bat speed are able to translate this early on against major league pitching, regardless of whether or not it's spring training, to me is absolutely fantastic. On top of that, Roman, like Marcelo Mayer, is off to an incredibly hot start this spring. He has 4 hits and 11 ABs and 3 RBIs. Now with that double mixed in as well. So they're kind of on a similar path here as they go forward through Major League spring training. And again, we go back to the question of, why are we talking about this, right? It's a meaningless game. It means nothing. But I do think it's important for a couple of different reasons. One, I think these guys are treating spring training much differently than a veteran player would in this clubhouse, right? These veteran guys are using this, hey, I know what my spot on this team is going to be. I'm going to work on perfecting some stuff. I'm going to get ready for the regular season. They're also doing that as well, but for these guys particularly who are so close to Major League Baseball, who are these supposed shining stars in Major League Baseball, this is kind of a tryout of sorts, right? A showcase almost. What can they do against Major League guys that they see, and can they make a case well enough to force themselves onto the Major League roster earlier than later, right? That's sort of what they're trying to do in this spring training. And so for them, yes, it may be a meaningless hit for us, but for these guys, this is a confidence boost, right? These guys are going up against legitimate established Major League pitchers, and they're succeeding against these guys. They're going to have confidence in their abilities if they want to truly showcase what they could do this spring and turn some heads in this organization, right? It's important for these guys to be able to do these kind of things, not only because it's going to start turning heads in the big league front office, right? Guys like Breslow and guys who are making decisions on this roster, Cora, I'm sure, are taking notice of their approach and their results against Major League pitching. But 2, it's for them as well. And for 3, it's for us, right? How many times have we heard that these guys are going to be absolutely fantastic? Well, we're finally starting to see what fantastic could possibly look like against Major League pitching, and I think that's a ton of fun. Again, shout out MLB for refusing to show every minor league game, because it would have been awesome to see this live, but we're seeing it now, and I think that's really important for this fan base to start getting an idea of what these players are going to look like as they come up and start facing some legit Major League talent. Again, even if it is against guys who maybe aren't throwing their hardest stuff or their best stuff because it's early on in spring training. For Marcelo Mayer in particular, I think it's important as well. We talk about the injuries that he's dealt with over the last couple of years and the new shiny prospects that have been exploding while he's been getting injured. There have been a lot of people in this fan base who I wouldn't say wrote off Marcelo Mayer. I think they still believe the talent is there, but all of a sudden he becomes, hey, this is a guy who, yeah, he's a top prospect, but I would have traded him for Crochet over Teal. I would have traded him for whoever, right? I'm okay with moving on from Marcelo Mayer, and I think that's sort of fine because of the injury history, but I think also people forget just how good Marcelo Mayer can be, and I got to tell you, he's got to be on a mission this season, especially now that he's getting some ABs against big league players to prove or kind of remind people that, hey, guys, I'm still an incredibly talented player, and I still have an incredibly high ceiling. So it's great to see him in particular come out here early on and really sort of get himself going against these major league pitchers. So again, while it doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day, while the stat lines that we're talking about mean nothing once the regular season starts, I do think it's a little bit different when we're talking about the importance of spring training, when we're talking about a guy like Bregman or Story or Durant versus a guy like Anthony and Mayer, who are just simply trying to make this major league team. So yes, meaningless, but also, in my opinion, it means something as well. Now, there were a couple of things outside of these two prospects I did want to highlight from yesterday's game because it wasn't aired and you guys probably didn't get a whole lot of information about it that I think you guys should. David Hamilton hit an absolute missile of a home run. It was a 108.2 mile an hour homer. That was close to matching his career high in Major League Baseball. So Alex Cora comes into this spring training. He says, look, David Hamilton looks a whole lot stronger. We sit here, we're like, yeah, whatever. Show me Campbell, show me Grissom. David Hamilton doing a lot early this spring that seems really impressive. The velocity's there. He looks good on defense. The speed is still there. He's really impressing a lot of people early on, and he continued to do so yesterday, again off of another major league reliever. Quinn Priester, another name, he started yesterday. A couple of things of note that I noticed from Quinn Priester, at least looking at sort of the aggregate totals from yesterday, is he got 6 swing and misses in 2 innings. Really solid number for Quinn Priester. The sinker velocity was up a full mile an hour compared to what it was last year. His cutter was in a similar boat as well, up 0.9 miles an hour. His slider was a couple mile an hours faster, as well as his curveball as well. He's essentially up in velocity on his entire repertoire. He's also using his fastball a whole lot less. Not totally a surprise with how Andrew Bailey runs this organization in terms of pitching, right? We kind of figured that was coming, but really good stuff from Quinn Priester yesterday. There was some really hard contact against him, but I think overall he looked really solid. I'm going to keep mentioning his name because I do think he's got a bit of a spotlight on him this spring training because of the injuries facing the Red Sox rotation. Absolutely a name to pay attention to. I don't know how many times I've said that. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but I'm going to continue saying it because I do think Quinn Priester's the pitcher to watch this spring when it comes to, hey, is this guy going to be able to fill in some of these spots on this roster come opening day? But outside of that, again, going back to the highlights of this video, Marcelo and Roman, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about this really good game from these two prospects? Do you like what you see? Is there anything to pull out of this, or am I just sort of glazing to glaze here? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, best way to do that is to head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.